Yo, what is up guys? So I am back with another generator deck profile, and this time I'm bringing you the version that I think is the best version of generators. This is WINDWITCH Artifact Generators. This is a version of the deck that I've been playing for a long time, and it's basically like my child at this point. So let me go ahead and show you guys. So, for the generator boss monsters, we're playing 2 copies of Utgard, which is probably the best boss monster of the deck. His effect is you tribute 2 monsters, whether they're generators or rocks. You target 1 card in the field, banish. So it doesn't matter if the card is face up, face down, spell, trap, monster, doesn't matter. Target, banish. And it's really good because if you don't know what the field spell does, the field spell swarms your field with tokens. So the tribute 2 for cost is not a big cost at all. It's basically a free banish for you. Next we have 1 Dovelgis, 1 Frody, 1 Nidhogg, 1 Hela, and 1 Mardell. I'm recently cutting Hela to 1. However, I'm debating bringing her up for 2 because I feel like she really helps facilitate your grind game. And there were a lot of moments this past weekend at locals and online where I really missed having the second copy of her. Next, for the WINDWITCH engine, we're playing 3 Ice Spell, 2 Glass Spell, and 1 Snowbell. So this is the standard WINDWITCH engine, and then there's a card later on that you'll see in the extra deck which came out in Ignition Assault, and it made this engine so much better. Next we're playing the Artifact engine, which consists of 3 Sanctum, 1 Sight. So the reason that I think artifacts are so good with generators is because with generators, you want to overwhelm your opponent turn after turn by bringing out another boss monster. And what Artifact Sanctum does, it brings out Sight, and it helps you stall an extra turn to get an extra generator boss monster on the field. Next, we're playing a small spellbook engine that consists of 1 Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, 1 Spellbook of Knowledge, and 2 Spellbook of Secrets. I am debating playing a second copy of Knowledge just because we are playing the WINDWITCH engine, and unfortunately sometimes you do draw into the Glass Spell or the Snowbell, and yeah, it kind of sucks. However, with a second Knowledge, you could actually turn that into a positive. Next, we're playing 2 copies of Nibiru and 2 copies of Evenly Matched in the main deck. So the reason for this is because Generators has a really difficult time breaking a board. So if you do lose the dice roll hypothetically, it would be great if you open up Nibiru or Evenly, just to help keep you in the game. Next, we're playing 4 copies of Generator Boss Stage because it is the whole reason that you want to play this deck. This is probably one of the best field spells ever printed, if not the best field spell ever printed. For our other generator spells, we're playing 2 copies of Boss Quest. This helps unbreak your hand. If you don't know what it does, on resolution you reveal 1 of your generator boss monsters in your hand. Then you search 2 generator spells or traps with different names, add them to your hand, and then you put the monster to the bottom of the deck. We're playing 2 copies of Drag Down into the Grave. This is going to be a lot better come Eternity Code, because if you don't know, you can activate your generator boss field spell, activate Drag Down, get rid of a problematic card or a good card in your opponent's hand, then your opponent draws a card, triggers the field spell, then you can bring out Mardell. Mardell will search you the level 4, which you can normal summon, and then you can turn that into turn 1 VFD. For this format, and then right now, currently before Eternity Code, I was just testing this out because Evenly Matched is a big problem card for this deck. However, this card didn't really work, or didn't really perform that well for me, so I am probably going to cut it or replace it with something. However, I'm not too sure what I'm replacing it with yet. And for the last spell in the deck, we're playing 1 copy of Kuchikiri Curse. This is trade-in for level 9s. For our generator trap lineup, we are playing 3 generator boss fight and 1 generator boss room. If you don't know what boss fight does, this is the metaverse of the deck. So what it does is it activates the field spell from either your deck or your graveyard, and then your opponent draws 1 card. And then when your opponent draws, since the field spell is already activated, it triggers, and then you special summon 1 of your boss monsters from your deck. Boss room is basically a pseudo caught by the grave. So whenever your opponent activates a card in response to a generator card or effect, you can send one card from your hand to the graveyard, and then the effect of that card becomes both players draw one card. So, for example, if you have Generator boss stage and you activate on your opponent's draw phase and your opponent chains something like Cosmic Cyclone or Twin Twister, you can chain Boss Room, send one card from your hand to the graveyard, and then the effect becomes both players draw one card, which is pretty good. Next, we're playing 2 copies of Summon Limit because I do think that Generators really excel when you slow down the game. And I think Summon Limit is an amazing card right now, especially with decks like Spiral, Rocket. We're playing 2 copies of Solemn Judgment just because I think the application for this card is a lot better than other options for this deck. You can stop Evenly Match, you can stop important cards like Shaddoll Fusion from resolving. It's just a really good card in this deck right now. And for the last traps, we are playing 1 copy of World Legacy Awakens and 1 Trap Trick. So, if you don't know what Awakens does, is you basically get to link summon on your opponent's turn. So you can use 2 of your tokens, go into IP Masquerena, and that way you have either a free destruction with Nightmare Phoenix, or you have a free interruption with Nightmare Unicorn. Trap Trick is to obviously turbo out the Sanctum, or if you already have Sanctum and access to Scythe, you can turbo out Generator Boss Fight, which is your metaverse for the deck. Next, for the extra deck, we are playing 1 copy of Almirage. This is just in case your Blue Boy doesn't resolve, and also there's an interesting application with this deck, or not with this deck, but against Shaddolls, where if you make Almirage and your opponent activates Shaddoll Fusion, you can tribute Almirage, and then your opponent is forced to use materials in his hand for the Shaddoll Fusion to resolve. Next, we have 1 copy of IP Masquerena, 1 copy of Nightmare Phoenix, and 1 copy of Nightmare Unicorn. I already explained why we're playing these cards. It's because we're playing Awakens, and it's so easy to make them with Awakens. Next, we're playing 1 Appaloosa and 1 Borosword. So these 2 don't come up. This I would 100% replace with BLS Link. However, I don't currently have the card at this time. But with the BLS Link, it's really easy to make with World Legacy Awakens, because you can just use it to go into IP Masquerena, and then you can use IP Masquerena effect to use IP, a token, and your Generator Boss Monster to go into the BLS Link. And since your Generators are level 9, your BLS Link will get the extra protection effect. Next, for the Synchros, we are playing 1 copy of Wind Pegasus, 1 copy of Clearwing Fast Dragon. So this is the card I was talking about that came out in Ignition Assault, and it's really, really good. So when your opponent destroys a card on your side of the field, whether by battle or card effect, you can banish this card and then spin 1 card from their field back to their deck. And for the last Synchros, we're playing 2 copies of Crystal Wing, which is really good because having this and Wind Pegasus in your graveyard just gives you 2 extra interruptions on your opponent's turn. For our rank 9s, we are playing 2 True King of All Calamities, which is like the MVP of this deck. If you're making this card, you're like 99.9% chance of winning that duel. And then for the last 3 rank 9s, we are playing 1 9 Lives Cat, 1 Phantom Fortress Enter Blackner, and Infinitrack Earthslicer. And that just about wraps it up for the deck, guys. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, make sure you subscribe, leave a comment. Bear X Bear, signing off.